What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another Fantasy Puck video. I am not your regular host, Mike. He's currently busy with exams and school and stuff like that. So it's Chris, aka FP Charlton, aka the Shorts Guy, that's going to be running the channel for the next little bit. We got a couple videos lined up for you guys this week, especially due to the upcoming fantasy hockey trade deadline. We're going to talk about the NHL trade deadline. We got a lot to talk about, so let's get right into it. Before we get started, just a friendly reminder, hit that subscribe button, leave a like as well, and comment Team Chris down below. Those of you that enjoy the video, there'll be a couple more out this week, so definitely check that out, as well as our Twitter and our website, fantasypuck.net. Our Patreon and Discord links will be in the description down below as well. Fantasy owners have their work cut out for them this trade deadline, with the NHL trade deadline being well after the fantasy hockey trade deadline. Now, understandably, this is due to the fact that there was an Olympic break and the season was initially postponed by a little bit due to some COVID issues early on. So that's why there's such a discrepancy this year in terms of the deadline date. This is going to lead to fantasy owners having some really tough decisions to make about their team, whether they're on the cusp of the playoffs or trying to make a deep run. Our first target is Marc-Andre Fleury. Fleury's had a solid year given the fact that he's on Chicago, and he had a rough start with this team, but he's managed to find his game as of late. He currently has a .911 save percentage with 4 shutouts, and given the last 2 months in his performance, he's really started to steady out his game, and I think that he still has that elite goaltender pedigree that any team would want. We also know that Marc-Andre Fleury has been linked as a trade deadline target for most teams. And this is where things get interesting when it comes to fantasy hockey. The fit seems to be that he's going to the Edmonton Oilers. I've heard rumors where Edmonton isn't willing to pay a first-round pick for a goalie. I've heard rumors where Fleury has been linked to the Capitals. We don't know right now, so it's difficult to kind of gauge Fleury's value. I do, however, think Fleury is on his way out the door from Chicago. It doesn't make sense for them to keep him around, so let's entertain the fact that he could end up with Edmonton or Washington. The Oilers schedule already gives you 2 extra games. St. Louis is the only really dangerous team in Week 23. Week 24, you do have that Colorado Avalanche matchup, but other than that, it's a pretty decent week. And then Week 25, you have the Vegas Golden Knights and the Minnesota Wild, so that one's kind of less favorable as well. The cap side doesn't get much better, as you only get 2 games in Week 23 with the Canes and the Wild, both solid teams. Week 24 is an absolute nightmare with Tampa, Pittsburgh, and Boston. And Week 25, it's a little bit easier, but you still have the Leafs to worry about there as well. So then why is Fleury a trade target if he has a less than favorable fantasy hockey playoff schedule and all this uncertainty of where he's going? Well, simply put, Fleury is the highest potential, highest ceiling goaltender that you'd be able to target for a decent price. Without paying too much and getting one of those elite starting goaltenders, Fleury could potentially become one elite starting goaltender if he gets moved to the correct team. Say Edmonton, for example, where they're just lacking a goalie and all of his numbers skyrocket. He could be an absolute game changer. Up next is Robin Lehner, and you've heard the narrative many times by now, hopefully. I just leave a comment down below if you've actively tried to trade for Robin Lehner. I just want to see something, because if you're looking for a goaltender, Robin Lehner is absolutely the best option for you to target right now. Number one, his price is lower than it's ever been right now due to the fact that he just came off an injury and he's having a less than usual season, I'll call it. We know that Vegas is going to get nothing but better, and they're going to be an elite team once again. You need to have Lehner on your team, especially due to his fantasy playoff schedule. He might have the best one there is for a goaltender. He gets Seattle twice in week 1, Vancouver over the course of 3 weeks, and then finishes off with Calgary and Edmonton. The real only downside to this playoff schedule is week 24. He only gets 2 games, but at that point, Vegas should just be steamrolling teams, and you will be thanking us later. Okay, look, maybe I cheated a little bit by putting 2 goalies in one spot, but hear me out. Obviously, given the choice out of the 2, you want to target Husso first. If you can get him off of somebody, amazing, like fantastic. Best case scenario for you. 12 starts, 10 wins, an 183 and a 936 over the course of January and February with the Blues. Husso's been excellent as of late, and obviously you target him first. Due to how hot he is, though, he may be very difficult to obtain, so this is why I'm including Binnington. And everybody relax, it's not as bad as you think. Now, I'm not saying Binnington's been good, but he is still seeing a lot of starts. 8 starts compared to Husso's 12. It's not like he's getting just the back-to-backs right now. 4 wins and 3 goals against average and an .889 save percentage is due to the fact that his game hasn't been where it needs to be. But given the fact that St. Louis is a competitive team, one of the best in their division, he's still continuing to see starts with the Blues, and his value is at an all-time low right now. I consider Binnington a great second or third option for your team going forward. They're both really good options in what you pay for. And it gets even better when it comes to fantasy playoffs because in week 23, 24, and 25, no team plays more games than the St. Louis Blues. They have 12 games over the course of 3 weeks, including a back-to-back on every single one, which means that even if you pick up Binnington for very, very cheap because his value is low right now and he's not necessarily going to start as much as you'd anticipate him to, even if he just plays the back-to-backs, he gets 3 guaranteed games for that week and is a solid third goalie for you. The idea here is that if you don't want to give up a lot for a goaltender, you should be able to get Binnington for pretty cheap, given his current situation and his stats. He's going to continue to get volume with St. Louis. St. Louis is a great team, which means he's going to get wins, and I believe that his play will improve over the next little bit. And even if it doesn't, he still has a fantastic fantasy playoff schedule, getting favorable back-to-backs on a very good team. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video, as well as hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. We have a lot more fantasy hockey content coming this week, especially with trade deadline coming up. So be sure to stay tuned. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Be sure to check us out on Discord if you have any questions or anything. Come join our community over there and check out our website and Twitter as well for all your daily fantasy updates.